What is going on, y'all? Gamers Goon here today with your Sweet 16/Elite 8 recap, and we are going to be previewing the Final Four in this video. I figured there was no need to do a post-Sweet 16 and a post-Elite 8. I figured I might as well put them all together. Next week, during these Final Four games, I will not be able to do any videos. I will be starting my vacation. That's why you can see a little bit of the haircut going on. So we won't be doing anything for that. This will be the last video for March Madness. Hit the laptop. Hit the laptop. Of course I hit the laptop. But this will be the last video for March Madness. I might or might not do some sort of vlog type thing on my vacation. I haven't really decided that. And then obviously Survivor stuff we have already talked about on the Survivor stuff, that we will be just pairing up the episode I missed with my first episode back. But this week we'll have the Survivor content as usual. So we get to the Sweet 16. Sweet 16, we're just going to go in order. Auburn versus Michigan. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how Michigan lost this game. Michigan was doing pretty well for the most part. And then in the second half, Auburn turned it up, dialed it in a little bit more, and Auburn walks out of there. Big time win against Michigan, won by 13. At the end of the day, Auburn just too talented for that Michigan team to handle. We knew Michigan might struggle, but Auburn was led by 3 20-point scorers, but the one that really stood out was Todd Pettiford with 20, Broome with 22, and Jones with 22 there for Auburn, all leading the way. That's a total of 60. Well, Broome had like 22 points, I think. So it's like 62 of their 78 points between 3 players. Michigan, if you could defend one of those guys, you might have a chance to win this game, but they couldn't. Then we got Ole Miss versus Michigan State, and I was nervous. You guys know that I don't like this Ole Miss team. Sean Pagula has been a thorn in my side the entirety of March Madness. I'm just not a fan of this team whatsoever. But Mississippi State not getting the job done. Pagula, 24 points himself. But all-around effort. Trey Holloman in double digits. Jace Richardson, Atkins, Cohen Carr, all in double figures. All-around effort. Easy. Not easy. 3-point win, but a win that they should have had, right? They won the second half, and that helped them win the game. Ole Miss, though, kept it close. They kept it close. Florida versus Maryland, this is another one. It was close at halftime, and then it wasn't close. You figured, am I in the Elite Eight? Okay, no, I'm not. For some reason, I thought Maryland. No, I was incorrect. Maryland kept it close for a little bit, then they didn't. Second half, Florida came, dialed in, locked in for business. Maryland stood no chance. Great starting 5. Maryland's coach is already at Villanova. We kind of expected that to happen. Maybe his head was not fully in the game. Derek Queen, he's in the NBA now. Well, not officially, but Derek Queen will be going to the NBA draft. If he doesn't, I'd be shocked. And then you got the other 4 starters. I don't know who is and isn't out of eligibility, but all around a pretty good team there that couldn't get further. Kind of sad for them. Then we get to an overtime game. Yes, an overtime game that I don't even really know how it got to overtime, because Arkansas led this game for most of the way. Texas Tech late threes came in. JT Toppin was hitting them. You had Williams hitting them. He didn't shoot particularly well, but he did hit them when it mattered most. Texas Tech takes it to overtime, beats Arkansas by 2 points. They advance to play Florida. Really, really good game there from Texas Tech, Arkansas. Duke versus Arizona. This game was actually a game I didn't watch at all until like the last couple minutes. Duke seemed to have it handled the first half. They were up by 6, and you're like, well, Duke usually locks in, and it was only a 7-point win. I thought maybe balloon it up to maybe 15, 20-point win here for Duke. Didn't happen. Only a 7-point loss to Duke for Arizona. But Duke, man, put up 100 points in March Madness. Yeah, they're scary. They're scary, and they weathered the storm with Caleb Love putting up 35. Caleb Love did everything he could, and it wasn't enough. Cooper Flagg with 30 himself, 36 and 7. Pretty good stat line there for the future #1 overall pick. Talk about another team in the hundreds. Alabama versus BYU, setting up a very high-scoring match in the next round because Alabama, it was sad. BYU, we loved BYU. We really liked their run here. Obviously, I've talked highly of them. Their big men I like. Richie Saunders I like. Igor Demon I like. Alabama, though, just way too much to handle. 113 points to 88 for BYU. You figured Alabama would probably put up a high-scoring game. You got it there. Houston versus Purdue. Now this one, they were this close. Purdue was this close to making me look like an idiot. Because I've been talking down on this Purdue team. I don't think that Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman is enough. Well, with Houston, the team that I think has a pretty good chance at winning the national championship, if it's not Duke, I think my order would be Duke, Houston, Florida, and then Auburn obviously being last with the remaining teams. Spoiler alert for the Final Four. Yeah, Purdue, 2-point loss, played really good basketball here against Houston. And then you got Kentucky versus Tennessee. Another game, didn't watch. Tennessee had it handled most of the way, won by 13. Not much else to say there. So we get to the Elite Eight. The Elite Eight, we had Auburn versus Michigan State. This game really was not as close as the scoreline suggests. 70-64. Really, though, it just never felt like Michigan State could really get their footing in this game. Started off really poorly. I believe at one point it was like 23-8. They started off really poorly. So we'll see what happens with Auburn in the future. But Michigan State just couldn't get their footing against Auburn, really. And they still played relatively close. So it was kind of cool to see Michigan State hang around, even though they just didn't really look all that great. Florida versus Texas Tech. I thought Florida was done. Texas Tech with like 2 minutes left. They were up 10. I didn't stutter. It's 10. 10 points they were up. And give Florida credit. They won this game by 5 in the last like 2.5 minutes. They outscored them by 15. I don't even know how that's possible. That's just an embarrassing loss from Texas Tech. The coach, you need to reel it in. You got to do something different. I mean, how do you lose that game? How do you lose that game up 10? I don't understand how that's possible for Texas Tech. But Florida, if they can make comebacks like that, they'll be really strong against Auburn. Duke versus Alabama. I don't know that this is true, but Alabama only put up 65 points. Seems really low. Maybe their season low. Duke with 85. You just kind of expect Duke to get 75 plus in these games. Duke, really good offense. I think even against their next opponent, they're going to put up some points regardless of defensive ability there. And talking about their next opponent, Houston put all the worries to rest. They beat Tennessee by 19 points. I thought Tennessee would have a chance to win this game. Houston did not agree. They dominated this game from the get-go. So Houston, Duke, Auburn, Florida, very chalky. Very chalky. I know people are upset and, we don't have this is a bad March Madness. The best teams in the country are here. We don't have to sit through. I mean, I've been saying this with other sports, right? It seems like every time we get to the championship, it's always just not really that exciting of a game. The Super Bowl hasn't been really that exciting this year. The NBA Finals, we'd get blowout after blowout. The college football playoffs wasn't super exciting. It was just the Ohio State show, really. I think this year in March Madness, you have the 4 best teams, and I think there will not be any blowouts. And that is the key to having a good March Madness, in my opinion. The ending conclusion should be who in this Final Four group can actually win. I get it, having a Cinderella here is fun. It is a team to root for. But realistically, they bow out. any of these 4 teams can win. As much as I dislike Auburn and how well they've been playing, because they do sketch me out a lot, they're a team that could legitimately win this. Florida, they're a team that could legitimately win this. Duke, you know how much I really like this Duke team right now. And then Houston is my pick in a lot of money brackets. I participated in some brackets with buy-ins. Houston's my pick in those brackets. I really believe in this Houston team. I really believe in this Duke team. I believe in the Florida team. I'm not so there on Auburn, but I can see it happening. So, with that being said, I think you got a really good Final Four. I know people aren't going to be super excited about it because it is chalky, but I don't think you should be concerned. I think you got 2 really good games. Auburn versus Florida. I like Florida in this one. Obviously, I've been talking down this Auburn team for quite some time. I don't think they have what it takes. Florida, I think it's a good enough team to weather the Auburn storm. Auburn will have a point in this game where Pettiford goes for a 6-0 run on his own. They will have a moment in this game where maybe Janai Broome steps back and takes a 3, knocks it down, goes on the defensive side, gets a big block. There is going to be moments that the pendulum definitely favors Auburn. I think Florida is a good enough team to weather those storms. Walter Clayton pulled out a miracle with some of his shots against Texas Tech. I trust Walter Clayton to beat Auburn in this situation. Auburn has a lot of names to throw at you, a lot of guys that can go make a bucket. But I do think ultimately Walter Clayton is the best player on the court, and I know that's crazy to say when Janai Broome is on the court, and he has been a guy that might be player of the year. I think Walter Clayton is the best player on the court. Then we get to Duke versus Houston. Duke versus Houston. Really, really good game. I don't really even know what to say. My mind is telling me Duke. My heart is telling me Houston. Houston is where my money brackets all lie. Is Houston. I believe in the defense. I believe in Kelvin Sampson. I believe in the vision with Houston. You look at Houston's last game, 69 points. They're probably not going to win a shootout game if they get into one. But you got Roberts, who can be pretty good. Milos Uzan's been playing really good basketball. Didn't really play great last game, but the games before, he had 16 against SIUE. He had the 22-point game against Purdue. He's been pretty solid in games where they needed somebody to step up. LJ Cryer, been there, done that, been in a Final Four, was with that Baylor team when they won the championship. Sharp, really talented player as well. But then you got Duke. You got Cooper Flagg. You got Kadeem Malawach. You got Tyrese Proctor, right? You got all these guys on Duke that next year are in the NBA. Colin Knippel. You got Sion James, who might not be in the NBA next year, but Sion James, a veteran leader for that team. You got Isaiah Evans, who comes off the bench but might even be one of their better players. Isaiah Evans could be a lotto talent, a lottery pick. That's how good he is, and they got him coming off the bench. They got veteran leadership with Mason Gillis. I know that's not a name that you were like, well, Mason Gillis really helped out Purdue last year. No, but he's been there, done that. He's a glue guy. He knows how to win. They got Caleb Foster there. Caleb Foster himself has been able to score a little bit. They just got guys that I think, if you're talking about depth and you're talking about who just has the slight advantage over the other, I think Duke has a slight advantage over Houston. And Houston, I know they can defend their tails off. I really do. One of the best teams in the country in terms of defense. They let Tennessee put up 50 points. I don't even know how much Chaz Lanier had in that game. Let me go look and see how well they contained Chaz Lanier specifically. Lanier, he had 17 off 18 shots, 4 of which were on the field. He went 7 for 7 from the line. They held Chaz Lanier in check. This is going to be a tough one. It really is. I just think that Duke is going to have too many answers, and I don't know if Houston's going to have enough. If they find a way to stop Cooper Flag, I think Con Knippel steps up. If Houston can find a way to stop both, I think Tyrese Proctor can step up. I just think once you get down the line, Duke has too many answers for you. I like Duke in this game. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be lower scoring, I'd imagine, than these Duke games that we've expected and seen with them getting to the hundreds and getting high 80s and all that. I don't think you're going to get one of those Duke games. I think you're going to get a grinded out type of game, maybe a 73-65 type of game. I do expect Duke to win. They can score at a higher rate than Houston. I do not know that Houston has enough to weather the storm defensively to keep them around. This might even be a game where Duke can go out and really lay it in and win by 10, 15 points. I don't love saying that, but Duke is a really talented team that I would take over, I think, everybody else in this field. And with getting to that, Duke versus Florida in the finals, I think I got to rock with Duke. My heart tells me Houston. My mind is telling me Duke. Duke right now looks unstoppable. How can you stop them? How can you stop them? If you do have an answer for Con Knippel, if you do have an answer for Cooper Flag, if you do have an answer for Malawach, if you do have an answer for Tyrese Proctor, if you do have an answer for Isaiah Evans, if you do have an answer for all these guys, right? Then why aren't we talking about that team that has all these answers as the clear favorite? That's my question. There should be no ambiguity in who's the favorite if there is a team that has answers to those questions. Duke might be one of the most talented teams in the last 5-10 years. I don't know if it beats the Duke team with Zion, all those guys, but this Duke team has a lot of talent. And I don't know if you can find any other team in the country this year that consistently, if Duke is locked in, can match up against that talent. You might be able to catch them on an off day. I don't think you're catching anybody in this Final Four on an off day. They're going to be playing their best basketball. You're not going to, if the three ain't falling, I don't think they'll fall in love with it. I think they will adjust. But I just don't see anybody having those answers for Duke. So we'll find out here in the next week or so. I believe the championship is played next Monday. So be on the lookout for that. Maybe after I get off of my vacation, I will maybe recap it, but don't expect that. Don't expect that. Make sure later this week also you're looking out for the Survivor content. And once I get back from my vacation, we gotta ramp up some of this NFL draft content. I would do another video after I'm done talking here, but my voice, as you can tell, is a little bit raspy. I don't know why, but it don't feel the greatest at the moment. I think it might be because I'm talking a little bit too much. Anyways, thank you for watching. I will see you all next time. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know down below who you have winning the national championship.